Some people say that insurance is just a fraud and a waste of money. Well, stay tuned to find out why that is not true.
De Negocio es patrocinado por Engente Connect.
Welcome to another episode of the Negocio a Negocio, a podcast created with you, the entrepreneur, in mind. We're here to provide you with tools and information to help you take your business to the next level. This is a production of Engente Promotions under the supervision of Gilberto Zazueta with Sony Imagen. And here your host, Caroline Torres from the studios of Heritage Headquarters. As you know, a lot of people always say, hey, I wasted my money. I did a claim, and guess what? The insurance didn't pay. So therefore, insurance is a fraud. Well, let me tell you that today we have a special guest that is going to be talking about why that is not true. Why having the right agent is the key to your success. I would like to welcome Sasha Gomez with InsureZen that is here to debunk some of those myths and misconceptions about insurance. Welcome, Sasha. Thank you so much for coming in, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and obviously your beautiful smile. So welcome to the Negocio a Negocio.
Thank you for having me, Caroline, and thank you everyone who's here watching the podcast or listening to the podcast. I'm truly honored to be part of this.
So Sasha, I know that we started with a very controversial subject. A lot of business owners, they feel that insurance, a lot of times when you need them, they don't help you, they don't cover, they don't do what they're supposed to do, which is to protect us. Why is this not true? Tell me a little bit about that. But before you get there, tell me a little bit about you.
Of course. Well, I have been in the insurance industry for already 7+ years, and my background is very extensive, but I've learned from the best of the best. I've had the best mentors who really helped me get to this point where I've opened my own agency. I've been able to get the type of clientele. The clients that I have or my customers that come to me are all people who are mixed with different backgrounds. Some people don't know much about how to start a business. Some already been in business for so long, and they're just trying to navigate, what does insurance do for you? Like, how does it work? And I think one of my favorite things has always been to simplify it, right? That's a big reason why I created my business called InsureZen, is that I want to bring that calmness, the stress-free attitude to those conversations, because it's hard. It's a lot of terminology. It's a lot of jargon that, unless you're in it, you don't maybe understand it. So that's why I want to be that advocate for people.
And I love how you mentioned creating that zen, right? To take away that stress. And I love that that's the foundation and that's the goal that you have for every single business owner out there. But so let's get started. Let's start again with the whole question. Is insurance a fraud?
Great question. Insurance is not a fraud. And I want to be so clear about that, because you have to think about insurance. Every company, there's so many insurance companies out there, right? So it gets a little overwhelming because you're trying to select who and what company is going to best cover you. The best thing I can say here is that you cannot just go off of the best price. You cannot do that. A lot of times, and I would say almost 80%, if not maybe 90% of the time, people who say insurance is a fraud is because they don't understand it, or they just were shopping for the cheapest price. And I always tell people, cheap doesn't always mean it's great, right? So I would say, for those who are feeling like that, get close to a broker. Me specifically, I'm happy to explain all those coverages and what you actually have and how to guide you. Maybe it's staying with the same company you have, but I can guide you on what to choose and how to choose well and be prepared for when you have to file a claim.
So what you're saying, what I'm understanding is that a lot of times when we go with the cheaper price because we want to save money, we're not protecting the assets that we need to be protecting, and aka we underinsured.
Absolutely. It's always for that reason. It's underinsured. It can be you're not proactive maybe during a claim process. So it's, it's a lot of, it goes both ways sometimes, I would say. And yeah, there's every case now where maybe you get an agent that is shady. And just like any industry, I'm sure you can probably agree, any industry, any professional, we come across people who sometimes give our industry a bad rep. But it doesn't mean that all insurance brokers are created alike, right? So, I always just tell people that, you have the option to go online, you have the option to get a broker, but there is clearly a huge difference. And it's that a broker is your advocate. Why would you stress about learning about insurance terminology when you have someone that can help you? And we don't even charge extra for that. A lot of people don't know that.
So I wanted to ask you, actually, that was one of my questions, because I know a lot of times we see a lot of commercials about, hey, just go online, use this app, and we'll go ahead and process your insurance in a matter of seconds, and therefore also save you hundreds of dollars. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes. Online quoting. Online quoting is one of those, what can I say? It's hard to determine what is best for you because you go online, and I personally have done this just to kind of see what are people getting into, right? What are these online quotes looking like? And a lot of these times they are basically a system that just takes your information, and they don't actually sometimes quote you. They're sending it to a bunch of insurance agents. That's one option, right? So sometimes it's just a system taking your information. It goes to a bunch of insurance agents that's partnered up with that online system or website. Or sometimes we see this on social media. And then you're going to get a bunch of calls from all these insurance agents that maybe can help you, that maybe can't help you. You're going to get bombarded, right? So that's one thing that can happen that can be very annoying.
So they sell your information.
They sell your information. The other thing that happens where if you go directly to an insurance company, and I'll just throw out a name that we also offer at our agency, it's Progressive Insurance, very well-known, common company, right? And if you go online with them, yeah, you can get an online quote, but sometimes your situation is not going to be similar to your neighbor's situation. So a lot of times we're trying to search for a price that maybe our neighbor has, our friend has, but you have to remember everyone's situation is so different. And let's be honest, do we all know what uninsured means, underinsured motorist means, medical payments? I'm just throwing out jargons right now. Do we all know what that means? Sometimes we don't. So why would you shop around pricing or coverages if you're not exactly sure what each one does? So my biggest thing, or my takeaway I want to give to you guys, is that you got to really make sure what exactly you're getting, because there's no advocate, there's no person behind that online platform that is going to help you. And it's always going to be this 1-800 number that you're going to get someone different. You're going to get someone that might be in a bad mood. You're going to get someone that probably won't help you. So that's where I see a lot of times people getting, claims declined, or sometimes getting overcharged, and that's just what I see so much with online quoting. So that's where I would say be very cautious about it. Because when you come with a broker, we don't charge extra fees. At least I don't. I don't charge extra fees. What you're going to get with me is exactly what the insurance company is giving.
So walk us through a process. Like, I want you to give me an example. And I'm sorry, I can't get this song out of my head. Like, it's a hard knock life.
Yes. I love that song.
But I'm like, wait, it doesn't have to be, right? So I want you to walk me through a process. Okay, so I give you a call. I mean, I kind of started making in my head, like, okay, I go in, fill out the information. Basically, they are not going to be sitting down with me, finding out my business, my structure, what kind of assets I want to protect, and also based on what we're doing, exactly the amount of insurance that I'm actually going to need.
Yes.
And also find out if I'm overpaying going to this company versus this other company. That's where I see the value of having someone like you, right? A broker. But walk me through the process on how you, Sasha Gomez, works with a client. Like I'm your client, I'm sitting down with you for the first time, and let's sum it up in like a minute.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the first call, and I'll give an example as business owners, right? Business owners who are looking for business insurance. The first phone call usually takes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. And that phone call is usually to understand, what does your business do, right? And we have many forms of communicating. Some people are texters, some people want to email, some people want to call. Whatever the case is, we work in many different forms because we understand everyone has different communication styles, right? And so our process is to make sure that we're asking the right questions, because many times business owners or anyone in general, you might not know what exactly we need to know as an agent. So many times we are the ones who know exactly what we need to know to get you the right pricing. And what I really love about this process, I know you will not get through an online quoting system, is that we are asking questions in a deeper level to understand, where do you want to take your business? It's not just about where your business is at right now. Where do you want to go with it, right? What are your personal goals, right? Maybe you are a business owner, but you also want to save some money. You have a wedding coming up, so you want to save some money on the home and auto insurance, right? Wrap everything up in one with one agent. Save some time, have one person looking at all your stuff. Like, there's so many different goals for everybody. So we really want to take the time to listen to that. And so I do believe sometimes the ease, a lot of people believe that, oh, I just want to get something fast online. Yes, that's good. We have options like that are just fast and easy. But I always say that personally for us, we want to take that time with people, whether it's, maybe at a certain time that you're able to talk, or how I said, making it convenient where texting or emailing is easier for you to communicate. Doesn't always have to be a phone call, right? So I would just say that the process is a whole lot different with us versus going online, because we are asking questions that you probably have never been asked.
But you know what? People like gossip. So tell me a story of something that, let's say, you save your client a lot of money because you ask the right questions. I mean, I do want to know. I want you to take this moment and actually brag, because I want to get an example, get an idea of a situation that your client came on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I'm glad that you asked that, because I think it is important to highlight, right? And I actually
we're talking about insurance being a fraud, so let's defraud and debunk that myth.
So there was a situation that, and I feel for this person, and they're out of the situation and everything, but it is someone who came from a different insurance agency. And bless her heart, because I can tell she was so frustrated. To make the story not as long, essentially she was actually getting scammed by her insurance agent, right? This insurance agent was overcharging her, but also they had like another relationship behind the business where she was also stealing and using the credit card of this person, of the client who switched over to me. And, and I think the reason why I want to bring this story up is because, I'm saying right now, using an insurance broker, how it's more beneficial than going online. But you also got to be careful with what insurance broker you're using. Not all of us are created equal. I mentioned it earlier that there are people who leave a bad name to the industry sometimes. And you got to be very careful about who you choose. So this woman, unfortunately, she, is going through that situation with this other agent, and it's actually a situation where it's a lawsuit. But coming over to me, it wasn't even so much about saving the money. It was more about the peace of mind that she has, the structure that she's going to have. We don't save card numbers or your account information. Like, we have very strict guidelines, right? Guidelines. We have policies in place. All of our team is trained to make sure that the way information is collected is being collected correctly and also in the safest way possible. And I can say that a lot of insurance brokers, agents, they don't always follow those same methods, right? So for me, that was like one of the biggest things, because it happened so recently that this woman, like, I kid you not, she was crying over the phone with me because of how much how much she trusted this broker, and she just totally did her dirty, you know? So it's one of those things that I just always mention is like, yeah, I always believe insurance broker, but I will always firmly stand that using us as an insurance broker, I just know what I stand on and the integrity that I stand on, and the people that work on my team have to hold that same accountability, right? So it just really matters about who you're working with.
Customer service and ethics.
Exactly. Customer service and ethics. And, you know, I remember someone told me, I don't want to get too off topic, but I will never forget someone told me that, you know, how do I say this? Like, it's, you know, I've seen so much growing up of people doing dishonest things. And I think all of us go through a moment where we do dishonest things. Let's be honest. Like, we're human, you know, we're humans. We make mistakes.
Sometimes unintentional.
But those things sometimes do teach you about like how important integrity is, right? And so I've been in my industry for more than 7 years, and I've seen very shady things happen, right? And so I've just never wanted to partake in a lot of those things. You know, I believe in like loopholes and tricks that are going to help people, right? Because we all know some little tricks and loopholes, right? But if you're going to do someone, you know, a disservice, or if you're going to hurt somebody, you know, financially, right? Or cost their business to maybe go out of business, you know, those are all things that, you know, I just want to make sure whatever I do, I can sleep at night. And 100%, I know I can sleep at night with what I do.
So how do we get a hold of you? How do we find you and get that quote and make sure that we are insured properly and that we're getting the best rate?
Absolutely. You guys can reach us at our office number, which does receive text messages. And again, I always say that because some people, we're in the texting age these days. So our phone number, and I'm sure we're going to have it here in this link, but our office number, 480-720-7903, is the best way to reach out to us to get a quote. We also have our website that automatically, once you get there, www.insure-zen.com. Once you get there, you can actually fill out a form to get a quote, and then you guys will get in communication with us right away.
Beautiful. Are you insured in other states, or is only Arizona?
Only Arizona right now, but we are actually looking at the possibility of California, Texas, and also Oregon. So,
well, people, thank you so much, Sasha.
Thank you.
I know. It's almost that time. We run out of time for today, but all her information is going to be right here below. So you could go ahead, connect with her, and also find out if you family, if your goods, if your business is protected, because let's be honest, we work way too hard to lose it all in one day. So that's it for today, but stay tuned. We have an episode that comes out every week. So follow us on social media, like this content, and don't forget to share it. See you next time.
De Negocio a Negocio es patrocinado por Gente Connect. Síguenos en nuestras redes sociales Gente Connect. Suscríbete, dale like y comenta a nuestro canal de YouTube Gente Connect.